138 MMA back to bring you the hottest Dana White's Contender Series picks that you can find on the World Wide Web. Today we're breaking down Week 9 matchup between Roybert Echeverria and Jafel Filho. In this matchup here, we got a 13-2 versus a 7-0. Now the record here doesn't show everything in the matchup, so I'm going to go ahead and break this whole thing down for you. First, we're going to start with Filho because I do believe he is the more tested of the two. He's fought a much higher level of competition. Fought more guys with winning records. He's been through some fights that actually kind of show what skills he does and does not have. With that, we have a pretty strong idea of whether or not he can get it done. So in this matchup, his striking needs a lot of work. Doesn't keep his hands up. Doesn't really throw with good, crisp combinations. Basically, his striking is not solid. On the other hand, though, his grappling skills are very good. If he gets this fight to the mat, it should be over. I am very confident that he wins if this fight goes to the ground, but that doesn't tell the whole story. On the other hand, Echeveria, I think that's how you say that. I could be wrong. Somebody let me know. So he's 7-0, but the problem is he's fought a bunch of tomato cans. So for Echeveria here, the only fight he's had with a guy with a winning record at the time was 12-8, as you see down here. He's now 13-10, I believe, if that's correct. So the guy that he fought, he did go to a split decision with this guy, the 12-8 at the time, 13-10 now. He did win, but a split decision against a guy with a barely winning record isn't a good sign. So for Echeveria, you look at the level of competition and you think, okay, the guy's getting it done against these guys. How's he beating them? Well, he's putting them out really easily. He's knocking out most of these guys, except for that one fight where it didn't show his best skills, but what it did show us is that he's got cardio to go a whole 3 rounds, because it did go to a split decision, and in that decision, his cardio did not look like it faded too bad. He was still there in the final round, getting after it, doing the darn thing. So for Echeveria, I do think that did show his cardio level, which is a good thing, but it didn't show as much in the way of skill. And with this being a flyweight bout coming up here on Week 9's Dana White Contender Series, the fact that he does have a lot of power for this small weight classes, he's able to drop guys, hit him with some serious power in these shots. That is something that you don't see. Lately, we've seen a lot of flyweight finishes, but for a smaller weight class, to be able to put somebody out with one shot, which he's been able to do, or at least drop them, and then go to finish with some follow-ups, that is something that you like to see at a smaller weight class. So maybe all the skills aren't as refined as Filho on the other side, but he does have finishing upside there. So for me, that decision really kind of was the only fight that I was able to get a lot of idea of how this Dana White Contender Series match is going to go, because watching him go in there and just knock out a bunch of tomato cans in the first round did not help a ton. Sure, it shows that he's getting the job done on guys that he should be getting the job done on, but that split decision against the 12-8 guy, that was a better way to kind of gauge what he's doing. And something I also noticed in that fight for Echeveria, he does get backed up. If you push forward, he backs up. He does it willingly. He doesn't give you a lot of resistance. He'll come forward until you try to go forward, and then he just gives up the forward pressure and starts backing up. And he did that a lot, and that is, I believe, one of the reasons he went to a split decision, because while his opponent started coming forward, he threw a lot of like spinning kicks and like wild stuff. And to his opponent's credit, he had a lot of cardio as well, because it was a back and forth for a whole 3 rounds. Fairly exciting fight, really. So he does get backed up. That's not good for winning minutes, but he can throw with power. So with this fight here, I think if it's on the feet, Echeveria has a real chance, because he does have that strong power. And Filho, he doesn't keep his hands up. He isn't the best striker, but with the ability to take this fight to the ground, if it gets there, clear favorite. So for the money, I think the odds are out now, and I believe Filho is a -2 something, low 200s. He should win the fight. He really should win the fight. The only way he doesn't is if this fight stays on the feet and he unsuccessfully is able to get this to the ground. So if he cannot get this to the ground, Echeveria has a real shot at putting him out, because he does not keep his hands up. So in this fight, my official pick, Filho, I think this fight's closer than it should be. I think he should get a very dominant win here. But for Echeveria, like I said, that KO power is there. The path to victory is there. The split decision scares me against a guy at 12-8. You shouldn't, if you're looking to get into the UFC, you shouldn't be going to split decisions against a 12-8 fighter. That doesn't look good typically. And I looked at his 12-8, and it wasn't like he was fighting, a bunch of UFC caliber fighters. They were also regional guys. I'm sure they're all talented, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't what you want to see for a guy trying to get into the UFC going to a split decision against a 12-8 record like that. So for me, Phil Ho's the pick. I wouldn't doubt that there's money to be made on the Echeveria side, especially about the knockout prop. That, like I said, that power's there. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you think I'm looking over something that I should have seen, let me know. If you saw something different in that split decision and you thought maybe that that there was a reason he was backing up other than just willingly doing so, let me know. He didn't really do that much in his other fights simply because they didn't last very long. He was able to walk through most of his opponents. For Phil Ho, that ground ability is really strong. Maybe he's improved his striking, and I haven't seen it. He hasn't fought a ton recently, so for me, I do think if the fight goes to the ground, he gets the win. Maybe you know something I don't. Let me know in the comments. Let me know your pick. Where are you going with this one? Like I said, for me, Phil Ho's a pick, but I will see you in the next video. We've got a really exciting slate of fights for Week 9 Dana White Contender Series.